opportunity for driving business.
Welcome back from the break, and many thanks for joining us again. If you are still watching, this is Smart Means Business, and we're switching our eyes to Karibu, East Africa. Habari, hello, East Africa. How are you doing this morning? Now let's get into what is making headlines from the world of the East African community to check out what is happening there and what is making news. And as a matter of fact, if we are to speak about the East African community region, you get to realize there's a lot of happenings coming in across the region, and of which we start with the EAC bloc itself, which is set to at least come up with the regional central bank this year, according to the latest reports coming in. Decision to set up the East African Monetary Institute, the central bank of East Africa, will be made this year. Now, the key establishment required in implementing a single currency regime is also underway. The East African Community Secretary General, Dr. Peter Mathuki, said that the Council of Ministers is expected to plan on the location of the East African Community, that is Monetary Institute. And of course, over the recent years, member states have been jostling to host the East African Monetary Institute, each angling to avail themselves of the massive potential to attract foreign capital and become the region's financial hub. Now, the single currency will ease business and movement of persons within the region, which would achieve the bloc's goal of becoming unenvisioned in the Common Market Protocol. The East African community has a collective population of 300 million, with investors from across the world standing to gain from the market, and by extension have access to the entire continent's population. Now, the common currency marks the third pillar of integration of the East African community after the establishment of the customs union and the Common Market Protocol that deepened cooperation among the partner states. On the other hand, statistics from the East African Community Secretariat show that the intra-regional trade within the regional bloc is on an upward trajectory, standing at 10.17 billion US dollars. That is by September of 2022. Now, also on the other hand, Dr. Peter Mathuki has attributed the intra-regional trade growth to political goodwill amongst the members of the Summit of East African Community Heads of State and the relaxation of the COVID-19 restrictions in the region, amongst the others. Now, he apparently revealed that the high-level discussions among the heads of states have worked to eliminate a number of non-tariff barriers that were hampering intra-regional trade in just under 2 years since President Samia Suluhu came to power. Now, Tanzania's ties with Kenya thawed, and trade between Nairobi and Dar es Salaam crossed the 100 billion shillings mark for the first time. Now, the two neighbors have also resolved 23 restrictive regulations that had impeded trade between them, which pushed the cumulative non-tariff barriers resolved and eliminated to the current 257. And also, the East African community comprised the 7 member states, with the latest entrant, of course, being the Democratic Republic of Congo, despite the fact that it is actually having some issues with some of the neighboring countries like Rwanda. But then this particular entry came in March 2023, adding to more than 90 million of a market population that the DRC availed to the East African community member states. Now, DRC, which is a mineral-rich country, already has established trade ties with most of the East African community member states through bilateral deals and at the multilateral level, where it is affiliated with the Southern African Development Community within July after bilateral talks between Kenya and Somali presidents resolved a long-standing trade tiff. Now, besides that, to streamline this particular sector, the Directorate has, in collaboration with the Kenya Bureau of Standards, developed the MIRA Industry Code of Practice, which is guiding farmers on good agricultural practices at the production level and the post-harvest handling to cut on losses that producers that the producers incur and minimize rejection of the stimulant at the market space. But also, besides the same situation, a kilogram of Mira in Somali is now going for $23, but traders say it will still lower when compared to the $25 that it fetched before the market was later on closed. So that is according to the details that are coming up this particular morning in regards to Mira. And of course, the Mira exports to Somalia are more than doubling. And of course, for the farmers in Kenya who are actually venturing into Mira, you get to realize that most of them have their markets eyes set on Somalia, where this is on high demand, if you are to put it in that way. Now, this is an added advantage for the Kenyan traders, especially those particular farmers within the Mira kind of business, to at least have hope that this year there is going to be a chance to at least earn even more than they've been earning last year. Now, since this particular export market was opened up by the Somali authorities last year in July, it has given an advantage for the growth of the exports to Somalia from Kenya. And this has actually boosted the Kenyan traders to at least put themselves into a strategic position to see how they will be able to exploit this market that has been put in place for them. And that is it for Karibu East Africa. Now let's cross over to the international scene. In Sierra Leone, there is something to do with inflation biting into the all-important cookeries. The Sierra Leone's cookeries are more than snack stalls currently for many people. They do provide the only affordable meal of the day, if you're to look at that, or what here in Uganda we normally term as the toninas of Sierra Leone. Now, Jariuti Kagabo, who holds a wooden spoon longer than her arm through a vat of rice, as customers especially wait their turn to buy lunch at the side of a busy road. And the 30-year-old widow runs a stall called Cookery that offers the cheapest option for many Sierra Leoneans to grab what is often their only meal of the day. Now, these cookeries apparently give improvised West African, apparently give an improvision for those who do not have access to food or who cannot afford food at their places to at least go in there and get themselves a meal a day. But the cherished institution, according to what is happening in Sierra Leone, is under pressure from a brutal external force, which is apparently infringent inflation. Now, cookeries in Freetown, the capital, sell rice and stew at a fraction of what they would cost in a restaurant. But the densely populated metropolis does not have any urban agriculture. So when you look at the food, which is struck in from the countryside or imported from abroad, there's a lot of chances of what is coming in now. Ever since the COVID pandemic and war in Ukraine sent global inflation soaring, that has become painfully expensive for the people in Sierra Leone. As of November, that is the latest month on record, inflation had risen 35% year over year in Sierra Leone. Now, Sierra Leone in July slashed 3 zeros of its currency, hoping to restore confidence in the inflation hit Leone. Then many, including Kagbo, still caught prices in the former denomination. Now, also on the other hand, there's a fear for riots, as in August last year, riots broke out over the rising cost of living in the Shell Old Road Junction neighborhood where Kagbo lives and other people actually working. Then when you look at that particular riot, 27 civilians and 6 police officers were killed during the same situation. But inflation still biting hard on African countries and still focusing more on the issue to do with the fact that the International Monetary Fund did mention that, well, you see, this year we may likely experience an economic recession, which clearly shows you that there are tough times ahead of us if we do not put ourselves in a better position. But Sierra Leone cookery is also now facing the same issue and facing it even worse and rough this time around when it comes to the issue to do with inflation biting and hitting them terribly. Now, lastly, from the international scene, we talk South Africa as the President Cyril Ramaphosa this time around has cancelled his Davos trip. The South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has scrapped plans to attend the World Economic Forum in Davos because of the energy crisis affecting the country, according to what his spokesperson revealed. South Africa is experiencing a record of blackouts due to troubles at the state-owned power utility Eskom over the past 12 months. If you are to follow up on the same situation now, Cyril Ramaphosa was due to lead a government delegation to the World Economic Forum event in the Swiss Alps next week, and this particular Davos summit kicked off yesterday, and apparently he remained home to hold talks with Eskom and political leaders, according to the presidential spokesperson Vincent Mwangenya. Now, the scheduled blackout have been a burden to South Africa for years, with Eskom failing to keep pace with demand and maintain its aging coal power infrastructure. But if you look at the outages that have reached new extremes over the past 12 months, with the firm blaming sabotage and crime. This week, it apparently said it would implement blackouts of up to nearly 12 hours a day until further notice after a string of generators broke down. The outages have cost the country hundreds of millions of dollars in lost output, disrupting commerce and industry, but at the same time, angering the population. Now, on Saturday, the main opposition party, which is the Democratic Alliance, called on South Africans to join a protest or in March to voice their anger at the ongoing situation of blackouts and the load shedding that is actually hitting hard. And of course, as we kicked off this particular month, you get to realize there was a report that we apparently came out to at least give to you on the matters to do with load shedding in South Africa, which in the long run greatly affected those who are actually in the manufacturing sector. Part of it. It has been able to at least affect everybody in South Africa, including many of the households who have been at least surviving on electricity. And the electricity farm or the power utility provider, that is the government entity of Eskom, is failing to keep pace with demand and at the level of maintaining its aging coal power infrastructure. But of course, the South African president did decide to at least bail out from the World Economic Forum and send in other delegates to at least be able to represent him on that matter, just because he wants to at least solve this issue where the South Africans are still complaining heavily a lot, according to what is happening and how they're being affected by the energy levels in South Africa. Well, beside that same kind of situation, we are as well coming to the end of the international updates, also Karibu East Africa. But as we come to the end of it, you should be reminded that you can invest in government bonds today. With the harsh times that we are actually facing, investment can at least be the answer to you. And with Zabu, the only option you have now is using only 15,000 Ugandan shillings. That is the limit of where you can invest. With that particular one, you can kickstart off your investment journey. For those who do not have an account yet, what you need to do is use the USSD code *292#, register with your national identification number. Then afterwards, in the next 24 hours, you'll be able to select any bond that you desire to invest in. You can select a preferred maturity period for the bond that you believe will at least be the main cause for your journey to investment and to increase your investments. Remember, the markets on the Zabo platform open at 8:15 a.m. and these particular markets close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. So do note that it's actually very possible for you to at least invest in Zabo, which is a platform by Otex East Africa, and it's giving you that advantage over the rest of the others when it comes to making sure that you position yourself so ably well. Zabo, my money, my future. Otex East Africa, do something new. And well, besides that same situation, you can still get Smart 24 TV on mainstream, channel 394, that is GOTV. DSTV is channel 372 for more of the business updates coming in your way. And remember, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That is Instagram Smart24_TV, Facebook Smart24TV official, and Twitter is Smart24TV. But also be reminded that we are on YouTube at Smart24TV Live. Please do remember to subscribe as well. But not only that, do remember our website is www.smart24.tv/news for both local and international news updates. If you have definitely want to get in touch with real-time trends across the business world. You are watching Smart Means Business, and I'm your host, JORAMPAUL SONKO, in here to take you through all these particular conversations and discussions leading the business forums here on Smart24 TV, where we continue to drive your business. Into the next hour, I will be returning with the latest from the social media trends around the issue to do with the NSSF saga. What does the timeline have to say on that matter, and what is behind the NSSF saga that has actually created a public outcry, not only in social media, through print media, as well as what is happening from the different ventures of media that is actually trending within the country. But not only that, also we have the business tip and the business quotes, not forgetting the business updates coming up your way still in that same hour. Stick around here on Smart24. I'll be right back at 8.